election. Even then he was rewarded with this Rajya Sabha seat. Now it's up to his decision what he did.
Deeply embarrassing nevertheless.
I don't believe so. Again, I repeat, Trinamool
So on
Congress.
the floor of the House, for somebody to say what he did and bow out of your party and say he's leaving?
That is his own decision, I repeat. And it's hardly any embarrassment for Trinamool Congress, because in Trinamool Congress, our main TRP is Madam Mamata Banerjee's pro-people activities and the developmental activities that have been done in last 10 years in our state of Bengal.
Mr. Swapan Das Gupta, is he joining the Bharatiya Janata Party?
Dinesh Trivedi is a very erudite, articulate person, and I'm sure Dinesh Trivedi will chalk out his own future in the most appropriate sort of way. But what I'm heartened is that in his speech, his rather dramatic way of resigning from the Rajya Sabha, he did highlight some of the major pressing concerns which we've been talking about for a long time, notably the culture of violence and hatred which is there in the state. And I think it's really important to focus on the song rather than the singer. And I think to actually describe Dinesh Trivedi as a ruthless wonder, it's more a reflection on the people who promote the ruthless wonder rather than anyone else. I'm sure Dinesh Da has his own advantages. He has his own limitations also. We all recognize that. But to say that he was always inherently evil and he was always potentially treacherous is to cast a slur on his integrity, which I think is unwarranted. I think there is a space for disagreements in political life, and Dinesh Da has done the thing. He has disagreed with the political party and he's done the next best thing. He's opted out of it.
Is he welcome in the BJP?
I think everyone who is fighting the good fight is welcome in the BJP.
All right, the good fight, I would reckon, will be defined by what side of the divide you stand on. But let's move on now. Thank you for addressing a topic which wasn't really part of the curriculum, as to speak. But let's just quickly move on to our session for the day, which is appropriation of icons. Who's Netaji, who's Tagore? What's really happened is when we see this, what many suggest is a tectonic election, the icons which say West Bengal associated with have found themselves back in contention with both the BJP and the TMC wanting a piece of them. I'd like to begin with you, sir, Mr. Sen, because you're the grandnephew of Mr. Bose. You're the grandnephew of Netaji. How do you see it all play out? Because you've, at one end, you've got this whole legacy war which is going on where Tagore is concerned. Then you have the Parakram Divas, the Desh Nayak Divas for Netaji. How do you see it all plan out, the politics of it all?
I never speak about Netaji as a family member. I'm happy to talk about this subject as a historian and as a biographer of Netaji and as a scholar who has written about Tagore. So let's directly address the question that has been posed in this session, who's Netaji, who's Tagore? And I thought that I'd just quote for you something that Nelson Mandela had said when he came to Calcutta. He was speaking at the Eden Garden Stadium. And he said, "Your heroes of those days became our heroes. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was amongst the great persons of the world whom we black students regarded as being as much our leader as yours. Indeed, Netaji united all militant youth of all the colonially oppressed world. We followed with pride his great contributions." So if Netaji belongs to anyone, he belongs to freedom-loving people all over the world. And as for Rabindranath Tagore, he is called Vishwakobi, a global poet, and he is basically Bengal's gift to the wide world of letters. And that is why when I translated some of Tagore's songs, including the ones that he composed on his overseas journeys, I titled the book Tagore, the World Voyager. Now, political parties will often invoke the names of these icons. That is in the nature of political parties. And it is for the electorate to be discerning and to figure out who is genuinely following the values and ideals of the icons being invoked and who is being hypocritical.
I would ask you, what would you prefer, but I'll come down to that question later, especially when you talk about the Parakram Divas or the Desh Nayak Divas. But I want to, come to you, Mr. Sen, and I want to ask you, what is the issue with the Bharatiya Janata Party, this election, celebrating two of not just West Bengal's icons? I would reckon Tagore, Netaji are cult figures across the country. So why is it uneasy if the BJP is wearing them on their sleeve and celebrating them? Isn't it all the good?
See, first of all, I believe if I really need to speak something about Netaji, I should start with the greatest salutation, Jai Hind. Netaji is something like immortality is bird and eternity is follower. The issue is Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, he is an icon. He was the most revered freedom fighter. He went outside India to organize the battle against British rule. And as you know, in 1941, it is Azad Hind Bahini who thought that Rabindranath Tagore's Jana Gana Mana should be the national anthem. It's only Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose who hoisted tricolor national flag in 1942 in Hamburg of Germany. It's only Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose who hoisted national flag in Andaman in 1943. It's only Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose who used to believe that secularism is the most important factor that should prevail everywhere. You must remember that day after formation of Indian National Army. One fine afternoon, he went inside the cabin and he has seen that Hindus were having their food in one corner and the minorities, they were having their food in the other corner. And he categorically told, this is not the way. And on the contrary, you must recall, this is Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, who resigned from ICS in 1921. And in 1939, when Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose went to meet Rabindranath Tagore, he said that the blessings of Kavi Guru is the most important asset for the path of his journey. And he said that I believe till your blessings will be with us, we are on the right track. And in the same way, it is only Rabindranath Tagore who renounced knighthood in protest of this 1919 Jallianwala Bagh mass killing. So these two legendary figures are much beyond politics. And it's not only the people of Bengal, it's not only the people of India, the people of whole world remember these two people with deep regards and respects. But on the contrary, when Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was fighting for the freedom of India, he was being opposed tooth and nail by the then Hindu Mahasabha led by Savarkar and others, you know. And as an Indian, as a people of Bengal, we believe, yes, it's good to see that one Indian sage, his statue is being built spending 3,000 crores. We believe that the birthday of Netaji Subhash Chandra should also be declared as national holiday, as requested several times by our Honorable Chief Minister, Madam Mamata Banerjee. And we believe Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose statue should also be built with same regards and respect as the statue of some other Indian sage was built in one state of our country, spending 3,000 crores. It's very sad to see that before, as the election is knocking the door in our state of West Bengal, those who are hardly having clear-cut idea about the Indian sages, those who do
Okay.
not know what the birthplace of Rabindranath Tagore is, those who cannot pronounce properly the name of the relatives of Rabindranath Tagore, those who say that Swamiji Vivekananda Thakur, is very unfortunate to see them speaking about Indian sages who are being adored and respected by the people
Okay.
of the world in true sense.
Mr. Swapan Das Gupta, the fact is there's nothing wrong in celebrating icons even before election or just at the annual of election. There's nothing wrong. But when you go about getting the birthplace wrong, you garland the wrong statues, you get names wrong, some of the readers which have gone to do so, would you reckon questions will be raised? Especially then you will be called the outsider and trying to appropriate inheritance that is not yours?
The first question which arises is, why is Netaji an important aspect of this government's agenda, this Narendra Modi government's agenda? The reason for it is very simple. That the history of India has been taught, has been disseminated in one way, in a way which glorifies certain people and relatively underplays the contribution of others. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose happens to be a target of this, may I say, condescension. One of the worst steps which this government did much before the West Bengal elections was announced was, one, they celebrated the day Netaji announced the interim government of Azad Hind as one of the days in which the national tricolour was hoisted in Red Fort. Number two, they opened as far as possible, and I think all the correspondence and all the files relating to Netaji, which had been a subject of a lot of speculation, some warranted and some completely unwarranted. These were concrete steps which were done. And finally, this year, on the 125th birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, they announced it as Parakram Divas to commemorate the bravery and the sterling contribution of that man. So, in that sense, Netaji's contribution has been imprinted into the calendar of India. To my mind, that shows a degree of respect and an attempt to rectify some of the imbalances of the past. The role of Rabindranath Tagore is well known. He's been honored in every possible way by this country. People read him in different ways. People see him as a philosopher. Some people see him as someone who's firmly molded the Bangla language. The contributions are different. But I don't think anybody would, in any sense, underplay the importance of this man in the national life of this country. This is beyond politics. We are honoring some of the major icons of India, whether it be Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, whether it be Rishi Aurobindo, whether it be Rabindranath Tagore, or whether it is Subhash Chandra Bose. Now, you come to a more interesting question. What if someone mispronounces a name? Now, I think that must be a terrible crime, and I think we mispronounce names all the time. My Hindi pronunciation is something which really wouldn't pass any exacting scrutiny. And if you ask me to speak in Gujarati, I think I'll make a mockery of that language. And as far as Urdu is concerned, sometimes I do expect subtitles to be placed in front of me.
Getting the birthplace wrong?
No, that was not nobody got the birthplace wrong. One Twitter handle got it wrong. That's the thing. Now, I think that Twitter handle got it wrong, and I think he's wrong. But do you think that a man is being disrespected if someone says he was born in Shantiniketan rather than in Jorashaka? It's not a cardinal crime. I mean, there are people who, if for instance there's a controversy about whether Raja Ram Mohan Roy was born in year X or year X+1. Now, is that a great crime? I
One
think
second, so I think we're having some disturbance. Guys, are we catching somebody else's audio?
Start video now, they can see us.
So how
I think we're catching the audio of... all right, okay.
now, for instance, one lady, for instance, thinks that Pakistan is a neighbor of Bangladesh. Now, that's a, geographical inexactitude. But I wouldn't really judge her entire record in government on the basis of that one goof up which she did. So I think when we look at politics, one is to look at it in terms of what are the debating points we make at street corners. There's another way of looking at politics, which is to look at the larger, profound ideas. And I'm glad Sugatu is here, because Sugatu today is wearing the hat of the historian. And Sugatu will say, yes, there is a lot of things which we can debate about the lives, the contribution, the impact of each of these individuals. And we may even have legitimate differences over it. But that doesn't undermine the innate respect we have for the people.
Mr. Das Gupta, you're right. Okay, let's leave the frivolity of getting the name wrong, or let's, leave the place of birth, all of that aside. Let's talk about the fact that you yourself said, and then Mr. Sen also added in, the fact that, let's talk about Subhash Chandra Bose, Netaji, a secular figure. Would you reckon it was okay, Mr. Bose, that Jai Shri Ram chants were raised outside the Netaji Bhavan, when maybe Jai Hind should have been raised, because that is what is best attuned to Netaji, but Jai Shri Ram chants were echoed outside Netaji Bhavan?
I think it was wholly inappropriate for that slogan to have been raised both outside Netaji Bhavan and also inside the premises of the Victoria Memorial, where the central government had organized an official function on the occasion of Netaji's birth anniversary. However, we were able to preserve and protect the sanctity of Netaji Bhavan. In Bengali, there is a word called Sthan Mahatto, the exalted quality of a place. And this is the house from which Netaji escaped in 1941. He drove, my father, Shishir Kumar Bose, drove Netaji all the way from Kolkata to Gomo. That was the beginning of the transition of Subhash Chandra Bose to Netaji. What I will say in response to your question about Parakram Divas is that Netaji was not just a warrior hero. He had some very clear ideas about the social and economic reconstruction of India. And as you have just mentioned, he believed in the equality and equal rights for members of all religious communities and all linguistic groups. So if we are to even think of him as a warrior hero, we have to consider who were his fellow warriors. My father just took him up to Gomo, but who received him in Peshawar? It was a man called Mia Akbar Shah. Who was Netaji's only Indian companion on his perilous submarine voyage from Europe to Asia? His name was Abid Hassan. That's why we honored him this 23rd January with a posthumous Netaji Award. If you look at those who fought alongside Netaji in Southeast Asia, in Imphal and Kohima, the commander of the 1st Division of the INA was Muhammad Zaman Kiani. I was in Manipur last year. The man who raised the Indian tricolour in Moirang near Imphal was Shaukat Malik. And we all know that at the Red Fort, 3 INA officers were tried: Prem Kumar Saigal, Gurbaksh Singh Dhillon, and Shahnawaz Khan. I'm saying their names because that's all that needs to be done to emphasize how he had created equality. There's one other point I'd make, and of course the person on his, who was his only companion on his last journey was Habibur Rahman. But finally, I heard the Prime Minister the other day speaking in Parliament, and he quoted from a speech of Netaji, and in which Netaji says, "Democracy is not a Western institution, it is a human institution." I had quoted from that same speech, and I had quoted that line in a debate on intolerance in India's 16th Lok Sabha. But I did not stop there. And I was a bit concerned that the Prime Minister was quoting this line in the context of his denunciation of foreign destructive investment. What else did he say in that brilliant speech given as president of the Maharashtra Political Conference in 1928? He evoked a wonderful vision of free India as an independent federal republic. And also, he advocated for the cultural intimacy. That was the phrase that he used, the cultural intimacy of all of India's communities. So I think if you genuinely honor Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, you must work for equal citizenship, equal rights for men and women, Hindus and Muslims, Sikhs and Christians, Punjabis and Tamils, Bengalis and Gujaratis. That is the way to honor Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose.
Well, you're saying that also, I would reckon, a day after where the BJP once again has raised the CAA issue in West Bengal, but that's a debate for another day. Mr. Dasgupta, I'll come back to you, taking off from what Mr. Bose also said. Away from, yes, Jai Shri Ram chants at Netaji Bhavan. On the other hand, if we talk about Tagore, would you reckon there was, at least in terms of ideology, he was divorced from the Hindutva ideology? Not very far back as 2017, sir. The RSS wanted parts of what Tagore defined as nationalism removed from NCRT. So there is a question which emerges on the newfound love that the BJP has found for these icons.
The love for these icons transcends their particular point of view. Now, for example, Subhash Chandra Bose had this view of the equality, and may I add to what Shugato has said, fraternity of Indians. And I think that's an ideal we should all aspire to. And that is an ideal which unfortunately got very badly dented by the events of 1946-47, which led to the partition of India. Much of the suspicion, the air of suspicion, which has come about is absolutely a legacy of that era, which is tragic. Of course, Subhash Chandra Bose by then was out of action and could not influence course of events in any way. Now, the larger question arises. Subhash Chandra Bose also had certain concrete political views in the Indian struggle, for instance. He argued for a vision of a synthesis between communism and fascism. Now, that would become a bit controversial in today's circumstances. Mahatma Gandhi had a vision of the autonomous, almost self-sufficient village republics, a vision of the Panchayat Raj, which was hotly contested by Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Rabindranath Tagore, for instance, had a particular view of education, which, while very idyllic, may not be entirely practical into today's era. Now, does this undermine any of these people? They had definite ideas of their time. And as scholars and academics, we should be debating these, looking at them, what we can to understand them, to get a more in-depth vision of what these people meant. Now you come to the question of whether Jai Shri Ram was pertinent in that. Certainly not. It was not, because that was a different sort of occasion. But let me add one thing about Jai Shri Ram, since I've got the microphone in hand. Jai Shri Ram in India, or Jai Shri Ram particularly in West Bengal, is not a religious slogan. It has, for all practical purposes, become a slogan, a symbol of protest. A protest against various things. It can be a protest against a particular imperious individual who's ruling West Bengal. Because if that person gets irritated by it, you say it a little more loudly and irritate the person a little more vociferously. If it is a slogan against a form of appeasement which is going on in West Bengal, it's a form of, actually it is to say, look, we are invoking some slogan to say we don't like the present dispensation. That is the meaning of Jai Shri Ram. In the same way, as young urchins during the freedom struggle used to see a British person walking down the street and from behind shout Bande Mataram and run away. And Shugato will tell you that there are lots of police files which tell you about
You know,
these street
we'd
urchins.
like to go
But,
there.
but
So,
I would not equate that cry of Bande Mataram with
Okay.
the other slogan that you're
no,
mentioning,
I'm sure you-
because it got
Okay.
tainted
You know,
in
okay,
an
we're
act of
running out of
vandalism
time.
in
You know,
1992.
Because I think a lot of people would say
I
that
will
Bande Mataram, some of your more radical secularist friends, for instance, would say Bande Mataram is tainted. I don't think so. I think Bande Mataram is of
all right,
something which
gentlemen,
we...
we're running out of time. I'm really sorry. We've just, I would like all of you to get in a word, to shorten our session a bit. But Mr. Sen, I know you wanted to come in. Though Mr. Dasgupta did not answer the question on the newfound love for Tagore, because just about 2 years ago, the RSS wanted NCRT chapters removed on his definition of nationalism.
RSS is not the government of India.
All right.
The RSS is not the Bharatiya Janata Party.
Okay, well, Mr.
See, ma'am, it gives me immense pain seeing BJP shouting Jai Sri Ram and worshipping Nathuram, the assassinator of Mahatma Gandhi. In the similar way, it gives me immense pain as well when they talk about Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose.
But sir,
as
just to
because-
quicken this
as
up, and I
because
want
on-
to just
on
come,
the
I want to
contrary,
come.
they are simply the
Right.
followers of
But sir,
Savarkar.
why the insecurity is what is being asked? Wouldn't you have enough faith in your voter to discern who is the appropriate inheritor of this legacy if there is a war of
Ma'am,
legacy involved?
question doesn't arise because since 2011, 20th May, since our Chief Minister took the chair, she has been doing so much of developmental activities. So we have got enough faith on the voters at large, and we strongly believe these type of things cannot change the minds of the voters because they got really benefited by this existing government, and I am sure in the coming election they will be showering their blessings on Mamata Banerjee only. Thank you.
All right. Okay.
I just say that all it shows is that Netaji or Rabindranath or anyone else is not the private property of anyone. He belongs to the entire nation.
All right. So, I'm going to end.
Well, let me just say that how should we remember these two figures? I think they both showed us how it is possible to love one's own country and one's fellow beings, but at the same time have a critical perspective of nationalism and prevent it from degenerating into a crass form of chauvinism.
All right.
I think
Okay,
that's
this
what-
is this can go
but
on and
both
on.
had a very different perspective
Yes.
on nationalism. Subhash Chandra Bose and Rabindranath Tagore had diametrically other views on nationalism. And I think you will agree with that. That the
Yes,
that,
but
for
Subhash Chandra
instance,
Bose
that-
took
that-
on
that
board the critique, the Tagorean
Rabindranath's
critique of nationalism.
Rabindranath's critique of Gandhi, Rabindranath's critique of what was called revolutionary terrorism, Subhash Chandra Bose's advocacy of my enemy's enemy is my friend. That sort of,
Okay.
there were very,
Gentlemen,
very
I need to
different
come in.
ways of
I'm really
See,
sorry.
both of these iconic figures, they used
Right.
to live with an idea, and perpetually that idea has been incarnated in the lives of many. And let's
All right.
follow those.
Let me give you a conclusion where the two are the same. I'm not singing the national anthem, by the way, but Tagore had this to say in the second verse of Jana Gana Mana. Aharaha tabo avhan pracharito shuni tabo daro bani Hindu Buddha Sikh Jaina Parashik Mushalman Krishtani Purab Paschim Ashe Tab Singhasan Pashe Prem Har Hai Gatha. And Netaji, for the Azad Hind soldiers, had this rendered by Abid Hassan and Mumtaz Hussain into Hindustani. Sabke dil mein preet basaye teri meethi vaani har subah ke rehne wale har mazhab ke prani सब भेद और फर्क मिटा के सब गोद में तेरी आके गुंथे प्रेम की माला. This is the similarity,
Right.
and we have to follow them. And
I'm going to take Mr. Dasgupta's mic
a
away.
garland of love should actually
Right.
embrace all of the
Okay,
peoples
I'm going to end
of
this
India.
session, but Mr. Dasgupta, I'll give it to you on one condition if you'll tell us, because there is a lot of intrigue and interest from an academic, and a very eloquent academic at that. Are you going to now get into the dirty politics of it all? Are you going to contest this election?
I don't know whether I'll contest the election, but I'm certainly a lapsed academic, and that's I think a reasonable status to have within the political dispensation. And last thing, I want to tell Shugato, I would quote a relative of his,
Okay.
a very distinguished relative, Nirod Chandra Chaudhary, whose article
this is gonna-
on partition of
I'm gonna
Bengal
take all the
and
mics
what
now.
Rabindranath meant there is
Right.
something which I would
Okay.
urge you. And why did Nirod Babu always say Rabindranath had a very strong sense of Hindutva? I just leave it at that.
Okay, all right, let's just leave it at that. I think we left it at the rendition as well. Appreciate you all for joining us. I really wish we had more time, but we don't, unfortunately. Thank you, gentlemen. A very warm applause.
But we must close the session saying Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Thank you. Please raise a warm applause for our panelists. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.